गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदत्सादनम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदत्सादनम् प्रणो देवे सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती प्रणो देवे सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः
I would request Principal Sir to hand over a token of appreciation to the Chair of UNSCW. Yes, please come. Thank you, sir. You know his name is Gunav.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the year again. In our new academic session, what better cultural event to begin with than the Inter-House Model United Nations? This is an event that has been a core part of our school for as long as we could remember, and it is only right that we keep the tradition going. Firstly though, it only seems fair that I go into brief detail on what exactly a Model United Nations is. Model United Nations, or MUN for short, is a prestigious educational initiative that provides participants with a unique opportunity to play the roles of ambassadors from various countries. Delegates participate in the practice of international diplomacy via precisely simulated discussions and negotiations, improving their abilities in problem solving, consensus building, and sophisticated decision making. MUN fosters critical thinking, broad research skills, eloquent oratory, and a deep understanding of global concerns. Now then, for our version of the Inter-House MUN, we will be hosting 4 vast committees, each with a specific field of expertise. Each committee will have one chair and one co-chair who belong in the Executive Board for MUNs, or EB for short, and who will be keeping the sessions taking place in control, and make sure that each of their committees are successful in their own ways. To begin with, I will first introduce the 4 committees that are going to be present, while also introducing the respective chairs of the committees along the way. Firstly, we have the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women, or UNSCW for short. The UNSCW was founded in 1946 as a functional commission of the Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC for short, and strives to promote gender equality and empower women. The Commission's objective is to chronicle the realities of women's lives across the world, to promote human rights, and to shape global standards on gender equality and women's empowerment. The prime issue that will be discussed within this committee will be on the sexual and menstrual rights of women. Now then, it only seems right that I introduce the head of our first committee, Ms. Sania Philip. Over the course of the years that she spent in the MUN circuit, tactful lobbying is just one of the many skills that Sania Philip is well known for. Besides MUNs, she spends a huge part of her time with dogs. Her interest peaks in the theatrical arts, singing, and narration mainly. Rest assured that this EB member will welcome any and all of your questions and won't shy away from a good conversation. This is in fact the second time Ms. Sania Philip has graced her presence as a chair for our MUN. We welcome you back, ma'am. I would now request our Assistant Headmaster, Mr. Sudeep Mukherjee, to please hand over the gavel to the chair. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. ODC for short. And the topic being discussed will be drug trafficking in the Indian Ocean and the SEA regions. Maritime drug trafficking in the Indian Ocean has become a serious security worry for India and other nations in the area, with the Afghanistan-Pakistan corridor serving as the key conduit for illegal drug trade across the Western Indian Ocean. To lead us forward to clear this issue, the chair for the committee will be Master Vibhav. Ot viam, in viam, ot faciam. I will either find a way or make one. With a persistent focus on technicalities, Vibhav holds a special affinity for DISECs and ODCs, consistently achieving top 3 positions in all the collegiate level MUNs he has participated in. Having won committees in reputed conferences such as BMS MUN, CMS MUN, and Future MUN, and 3 back-to-back Best Delegate Awards, Vibhav realizes the importance of being a well-researched delegate. All work and no play makes Jack a very dull boy, he says, and in his free time, you'll either catch him at the gym or nerding out over Formula 1. I would now request our Assistant Headmaster, Mr. Sudeep Mukherjee, to please hand over the gavel to the chair. Thank you, sir. The fourth committee and the final for today will be on the iconic Historic Security Council, or HSC for short, and will be based on the Korean War in 1950. The Democratic Republic of Korea, more commonly known as North Korea, has decided to invade the Republic of Korea, more commonly known as South Korea, after supposedly getting a blessing from the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. This compromises the world's short-lived 5 years of peace after the end of the Second World War in 1945. The Soviet Union, the United States, and many other nations across the globe see this conflict as an opportunity to define a new post-World War world order. For this reason, tensions are extremely high as the world trembles with the uncertainty in the days to come. To keep such a peril issue at bay, the chair of our committee will be Master Gunav. Opinionated, and never hesitant to elucidate his points of view, Gunav is as firm as he is considerate, having been to more than 50 conferences. Gunav has an impressive placement record, to say the least. Awards to his name include the likes of Best Delegate Awards at MUNs such as CLMUN, GWHMUN, SMUN, SJBHSMUN, and HMUN India, to name a few, and also accolades from MUNs such as TISP-MUN, K-MUN, and B-MUN. With a penchant for fast-paced debate and being skilled at handling situations that would make even the most seasoned MUNers uncomfortable, Gunav enjoys challenges and is adapted at using a diplomatic approach to tackle even the most unnerving predicaments. Apart from MUN, Gunav is an avid debater and a passionate lover of motorsport. Gunav actively participates in parliamentary debates and ADR competitions at college, and has even represented India in Sri Lanka at the motocross championships twice. His perfervid appreciation for sport and speed is what, among other things, Gunav is known for. I would now request our principal, Mr. Shantanu Das, to please hand over the gavel to the chair. Thank you, sir. That concludes the introduction of each of the committees and the chairs too. I now request our Assistant Headmaster, Mr. Sudeep Mukherjee, to kindly share a few words.
Honorable Secretary General, distinguished chairs, respected principal, respected teachers, and dear students, today when I stand here before you, I am absolutely delighted to see the level of enthusiasm amongst all the young minds who are going to take up and talk about the global concerns and issues which Vikramaditya has very rightly laid out and rightly pointed out. MUN is one of the most participated activity across the globe and is quite favorite amongst the school children, college-going children. But there are few things that we need to be very, very clear about. Although we will be very proud to participate in the activity, it is not an organization but a community. And this for all of you to know that the community is growing because of active participation from every nook and corner of the world. So whether you are a beginner or a veteran, be proud to be part of this community. And I'm proud to see your spirit forged anew and stronger than ever. So dear delegates, whether you're participating for the first time or you have already become seasoned, you may find the conference challenging. And you may sometimes feel hesitant to speak or even raise your placard, whether to put up a question or not. But always feel confident. I suggest you make speeches, make friends, have fun, share and enjoy your MUN journey. Don't worry about the awards. This is for all the delegates seated there. Don't worry about the time frame which is stipulated. Go along with the proceedings and committees with your classmates and friends. Meet the brightest from the other houses when it comes to this particular conference, which is the Inter-House MUN. Because MUN is built upon the ideas of freeness of thoughts and deliberations. And these are the pivotal elements of diplomacy. So let me tell you briefly about what is diplomacy. Today, when the world is fragmented on various issues and interests, look within and understand the policies the government of India is following. When there are clashes, fights, war happening, how India is loved by each one of the countries. Even if the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, there are a lot of impositions, restrictions on the countries across the world not to have trade. India very diplomatically opened the channel to buy the subsidized oil. And with the ongoing visit of our Prime Minister to the United States is a testimony of how diplomacy works behind the scene. So you need to be honing all these skills from very young age, that how to create a balance without being part of any of the group, live to your interest, and live the policies and philosophy for which you are standing. Starts with your MUN at inter-house level. So what you have to give, throw out of the window. That I know it all and I need to be perfect. I need to win. I need to be ahead of rest of the delegates. Please keep this aside and rather focus on how you can bring quality to the committee work, how you are going to become a problem solver, how you can give a helping hand to each other so that the journey or the experience that you are gaining from this very MUN is a smooth sail to all of you. So as I reflect on the agendas that has been decided upon for various committees to work around for today and tomorrow, the agendas resonate with me because they are so very contemporary. Although some of the committees are working on the historic agendas. I will not go into the detail, but just a brief outline that the Historic Security Council is taking up the Korean Civil War, 1950, but you have to speak in context to what is happening now and how we can drive our thoughts, our ideas to understand the current global crisis. So if you ask a question to yourself, why this war, for example? We have so many wars in the past, but why this war is not coming to an end? So you have to start thinking, you have to reflect. Probably to me there are 4 reasons. The ego, the world order, fight for it, diplomacy of negative nature, which comes in the forefront as geopolitics, and the commitment to end the war. So when you're making your statements, you're talking, deliberate, and be focused on your statements. Try to bring some context when you have gained the experience from this very conference here. Related or spillover agenda for the UNCSW, which is going to address the human rights of women and the conflict and post-conflict region, with a special reference to the menstrual and sexual health of the gender. So very sad state of affair in most part of the world. Parallelly, the UNGA will take up more, pressing on humanitarian and socio-cultural crisis of the Cambodian genocide. And your generation is also on a day-to-day basis coming across this happening in many parts of the world. And as the world is reeling under the menace of, but not limiting to, certain trafficking and smuggling, you are to deal with drug trafficking, and the focus area is the Indian Ocean region and Southeast Asia. So while being in the audience, or when you're visiting the committees, when it is full functional, particularly the non-participants may think, why this inter-house MUN? What I'm going to gain? I'll just highlight a couple of points so that you relate very promptly when you are there, seeing your delegates, your houses actively participating in the caucus, moderated or unmoderated. Clarifying some probable doubts that may be prevailing in your mind as of now. Very junior grades here. 5th grade, when you are going, seeing very heavier things being discussed. What is your takeaway during the 7th and 8th lesson? MUN is an academically rigorous activity, and it's very engaging because it enhances your skills, the skill to research, the skill to think independently, the skill to take stand, your skill to be a communicator in all formats. And you also see the greatest of all, the self-management skill, as how to wade through the crisis situation and still make your point. So this can be your first takeaway point when you visit. MUN is also supporting your academic training. For the very junior ones, please note that a lot of grammar of different level, right from where to put a colon, where to put a semicolon. Those who are actively into MUN, please have little patience because we have to explain so that when they go, they benefit from it. What kind of word, where to start with capital letter, where it comes to an end, where the next statement will start with a capital letter, how to pass a resolution, how to debate, how to be very, very focused and restricted when you are making your point. It all depends on the committee and consensus. If there is no consensus or you don't discuss, then 90 seconds, I think, is the standard time. So in 90 seconds or 60 seconds, depends on the distinguished chair to decide. In 60 seconds, you have to come up with your ideas, your facts, and your figure. So that's the takeaway, that how you can be very crisp and pointed when you make your point. MUN also will teach you about how to hone the skills of being different, but still make your point clear to the rest. So, the fruitful engagement is very, very important when you're moving around. From committee to committee, we have delegated few rooms. But while you are moving, please try to capture a bit of the critical analysis that your delegates, your representatives from the houses are undergoing. Critical analysis is very, very important, including when you are raising questions through point of order or point of information, or even right to reply. there is some amount of binding, there is some amount of decency in your talk. That's the takeaway for your lifelong experience. Dear children, now reflect for a while on some of the event we have just concluded or about to conclude on campus. Because the bigger picture, the bigger frame is to be understood by each one of you. 5th of June, we celebrated and marked the World Environment Day. And on 19th June, we had a very resourceful persons, Mr. Ahmed Khan and Dr. Professor Kiran, who spoke about pollution with a specific reference to plastic pollution. Again, a global issue that you were exposed to. Think. 21st June, we have International Yoga Day. Yesterday, we had the International Olympic Day being celebrated on campus. And today, we have gathered again to see the very young minds talking on the global concerns that have probably happened in the past or is going to happen in near future in different format. So how do they fit in the bigger frame? The bigger frame is international mindedness in true sense. We are training you to become a global citizen in a real way. But in the meantime, you are deeply rooted in the ethos and values of Indian culture. Because your upbringing is happening on the philosophy and principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. World is one family, and we are training. And you have lived that experience on 21st June, where under the banner of United Nations, the whole world rallied and came united. And the driving force was yoga. The event was pioneered and led by our own Prime Minister. So again, a soft power in play to bring India to the forefront. This is the training for you from a very, very young age. And please take MUN as a very serious activity and try to get maximum out of it. Many a times you may think, in context to the Russia-Ukraine war, what is the relevance of United Nations? And thereby why to engage in MUN when there is nothing happening from the world leaders, from the countries to stop. So children, please be aware, there are certain very, very complex things which need time, need a lot of crackdown from the diplomatic levels. But United Nations is not only for bringing end to the war, but there are a lot that is happening at the global level. And on the backdrop of that, let me mention, there is a lot of work happening on the humanitarian, socio-cultural and political issues for being addressed. Right from global climate change, food shortages, commodity distribution, disarmament, non-proliferation, so many such pressing demands are met on a day-to-day basis, and we need the younger generation to be ready, future ready, to take up the mantle and bring peace, eternal peace on the planet. So United Nations is uniquely placed, and this is your training ground, starting from inter-house MUN. That's the context. So I thank all of you for your commitment and wish you all the best to have a fruitful and very stimulating conference ahead. Have a nice day, wonderful day ahead. Thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir. Those are very inspiring words. Now I request Principal Sir to come here and declare the inter-house MUN open. Thank you, sir. Please rise for the national anthem.